Hello and welcome back to The Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. I am sure that you can relate to having a day or even a season where you just are not motivated to get things done. This is something that people ask me about on a regular basis. So today I'm going to share 4 simple tips with you of ways that could help you to find motivation when we're not feeling motivated, ways that we can get things done when we just don't feel motivated to do it. But first, if you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel, hit that bell, and you'll get notified when the next video goes live. Many times when we are not feeling motivated, it's lots of times because we're feeling overwhelmed. It just feels like we have too much to do. And so the first tip I have is to do a brain dump. This is a great way to get everything out on a piece of paper, and you look at everything you have to do. And then you can start to prioritize what is absolutely necessary for me to do. What I have found is even when I feel overwhelmed because I know that I have an overwhelming amount of things to do, when I will do a brain dump, I begin to realize that it's not as bad as I thought it was. Or there's a lot of things floating around in my brain that maybe aren't happening for a few weeks, and I have just allowed my brain to kind of stress itself out. So take the time to write all of the things down and then tear that list in half. What are the things that you absolutely don't have to do this week? They're not priority. And just pick the things that are a priority. This will help us to kind of take a deep breath and to realize that it's not as bad as we think it is. The second tip is to push one domino over. We've all seen it where they'll line up a lot of dominoes and you push one and the rest of them start to fall, and it just gets faster and faster. So if you're not feeling motivated, maybe it's a really rainy day and you just feel kind of or you're getting over being sick, you're not feeling your best. Take the time to do one thing, one action that will cause another action. For example, if your kitchen is super overwhelming, rather than look at your kitchen as a whole and think, I don't want to do this, I'm going to have to clean my entire kitchen. Clear off your island, wipe it down. Say that this is the one thing I'm going to do. Maybe unload your dishwasher. And now that your dishwasher is unloaded, loading your dishwasher, which is going to be emptying your sink, will not seem as overwhelming. And then, okay, I'm going to go ahead and wipe down my counters. And now within 10 minutes, my kitchen is clean. I thought it was overwhelming, but it's actually not because I just pushed that one domino over. Or maybe you open your email and it's overwhelming. Respond to one email or just go through and delete all of the unnecessary emails. Push that one domino over and see how that it starts to have other dominoes that begin to fall. The third tip is to set up a reward. Sometimes all I want to do is curl up with a book, with a fresh cup of coffee, and kind of ignore the world. And there is a time for that. We do need to rest. Many times our body is telling us we do need to rest. What if instead of doing that first, you set that up as a reward? I am going to make this call, or I am going to respond to these emails. I'm going to do this one thing. And then when I get this done, this is my reward. I'm going to do this. Maybe you want to drive to Quick Trip and get a Coke slushie. That's something that my kids and I will set up as a little reward for ourselves. But first, we're going to get through the school day, and then we can do this thing. So whatever that is for you, set up a reward that will help you to motivate yourself to get what you need to get done. And the last tip is to eat a frog. There's a book. I will link it in the notes below, and it just talks about how we can get those things done. I believe it was Mark Twain that said, if you will eat a frog each day, that's how you get things done. I'm not sure what the entire quote is. I'm sure I should have looked that up better before I started this video, but that's the premise of the book. It's a great book, and I actually have another video that is related to that book where I talk about how you can complete a goal, and I will actually link that at the end of this video. But there are those things that we don't want to do. There are those so-called frogs. Rather than continuing to put those off, even if we don't feel motivated, just tell yourself, I'm going to do this one thing. I'm going to eat this frog. I'm going to get this thing done. And the immense relief, the release from that pressure that you will feel when you're finished with that is so worth it. Many times that will create motivation in us. Okay, I feel so good about that. I'm so glad I got that done. And now I'm going to continue to get some important things done. Maybe rather than looking at this as something related to productivity, I've had some of you reach out to me regarding minimalism. I want to minimize my home. I want to go through my kids' toys, but it just feels so overwhelming. So rather than looking at their toy room as a whole and thinking, there's no way I can do this, choose one of these tips. Start with one basket or one category. Do one thing at a time, a simple thing. Or maybe do a brain dump. Write down all of the things that you think you're going to need, the steps you're going to need to take for when you're minimizing that toy room, or the categories that you're going to need to minimize in that toy room. Set up a reward. Once I go through 2 of their baskets, then I'm going to take the time to do this. Or you can even set up a reward for your children if they're old enough to help you with this. I had a friend that she told her kids that for every item that they got rid of, it would be $1. They were wanting to purchase this new game system, and she never imagined that they would have enough money, so-called, by the end of it. It was something the family was planning on purchasing anyhow. Well, her kids got rid of like over 700 items. She could not believe the amount of items they got rid of. And so the reward for the entire family was to purchase this new gaming system, and they had a lot of fun with it. Maybe that's to be aware of before you tell your kid you're going to give them $1 for everything, is to know that sometimes toys can just seem to multiply. But they created a reward system, and it absolutely worked for their family. I 100% know what it's like to not feel motivated. There have been so many days where I just really don't want to get anything done. And sometimes I don't get anything done. But if I utilize one of these 4 tips, I'm so thankful that even when I haven't been motivated, that I have still pushed forward and gotten something done that day.